Have you ever awakened feeling as though your cognitive function was lagging? Perhaps you find that routine tasks, such as locating your keys or recalling names, have become surprisingly difficult. Or maybe driving at night feels less secure than it once did. You are not alone in experiencing these changes. These symptoms are genuine indicators that both your brain and your visual system are requesting essential support. Here is a fact that might surprise you. The solution to supporting your eye and brain health could be found in your own pantry. We are not talking about complex, costly supplements or cutting-edge treatments. We are focused on simple, powerful seeds. Our approach is always to provide you with practical, science-backed strategies to naturally safeguard your vision and maintain cognitive acuity. Today, I will present 4 small seeds capable of supporting repair in your eyes and brain while you sleep. Please stay with me until the end, as I will also outline a straightforward, effortless nighttime routine for incorporating them into your life. Pumpkin seeds minerals for memory and night vision. If the brain and eyes are sophisticated machinery, then pumpkin seeds function as the essential spark plugs. Why this designation? Because they are densely packed with vital minerals, most notably zinc and magnesium, which are indispensable for maintaining optimal brain function and enabling the eyes to adapt properly to changes in light. This is our essential foundation for sharpness and rest. Let's focus on zinc. This unassuming mineral often goes unrecognized, yet it is absolutely critical for healthy vision. Your retina actually stores significantly high concentrations of zinc, utilizing it to activate the necessary enzymes that facilitate vision in dim light. This direct mechanism explains why individuals with lower zinc levels frequently experience difficulty with night vision, struggling to drive safely after dark or read comfortably in a softly illuminated room. Furthermore, studies indicate that a zinc deficiency is associated with a faster progression of age-related macular degeneration. Stated plainly, without sufficient zinc, your retinal cells lose their ability to properly defend themselves. Pumpkin seeds are one of nature's most concentrated sources of zinc. Just 2 tablespoons provide a substantial boost, helping to reinforce the retina and sharpen your sight during twilight hours. For older adults, this small addition can translate into the significant difference between struggling to see in the evening and confidently recognizing details or reading under a lamp. Wouldn't you agree that improved night vision offers a real boost to independence? Next, consider magnesium. This mineral is frequently referred to as the relaxation mineral, and for good reason. It soothes overactive nerves, encourages the relaxation of blood vessels, and actively supports the production of GABA, the primary neurotransmitter that helps you calm down and unwind. Seniors with magnesium deficiencies frequently report disrupted restless sleep, recurrent morning headaches, or muscle cramps. By consistently consuming pumpkin seeds in the evening, you supply your body with the necessary raw material it needs to transition into a deeper, more restorative sleep. But magnesium has another key function. It enhances blood flow. Healthy circulation is paramount, ensuring that oxygen and vital nutrients reach every tiny corner of the brain and the sensitive eye tissues. This translates directly to improved memory consolidation overnight, sharper focus upon waking, and essential protection for the tiny, delicate capillaries that sustain your vision. And here is a fascinating detail. Pumpkin seeds also support neuroplasticity, which is the brain's innate ability to adapt, form new connections, and store new memories. Preserving this mental flexibility and recallability is precisely what we aim to do as we age. How best to consume them? Pumpkin seeds are delicious, either raw or lightly roasted. A small handful, around 2 tablespoons, is an ideal quantity just before bed. They offer a satisfying crunch without feeling heavy, delivering that mineral concentration precisely when your body is preparing for repair. You can also sprinkle them over a small portion of yogurt or integrate them into a custom bedtime trail mix with sunflower seeds. So far, we have covered the essential minerals for night vision, memory, and rest. Now let's move to the structural building block, the essential fats found in flax seeds. Flax seeds omega-3 Support for brain and eyes. If pumpkin seeds are the spark plugs that initiate the repair cycle and calm the nervous system, then flax seeds are the structural builders. They provide the essential fatty acid foundation necessary for the brain and eye structures to truly be repaired overnight. If I were to recommend one single seed for structural support, flax seeds would be my immediate choice. Why? Because they are one of the most concentrated plant-based sources of alpha-linolenic acid, ALA, a crucial type of omega-3 fatty acid. Your brain and eyes have an absolute requirement for omega-3s. Let's start with the brain. Did you know that approximately 60% of your brain is composed of fat? And the specific type of fat is highly significant. Omega-3s are essential building blocks that help create flexible, resilient cell membranes, particularly within the neurons responsible for transmitting your thoughts, memories, and focus. However, if the intake of omega-3 is insufficient, the communication network becomes impaired. Signal transmission slows down, and that common phenomenon we call brain fog begins to set in. Does this sluggish feeling resonate with your own morning experience? The benefits extend to your eyes in a parallel manner. The retina, the light-sensitive layer at the back of the eye, is dense with delicate photoreceptor cells. These specialized cells rely heavily on omega-3s to maintain their structural integrity. A low dietary intake can lead to increased symptoms of dryness, greater strain under low-light conditions, and even an elevated risk of age-related issues such as macular degeneration. This is where flaxseed truly excels. Unlike certain fish oils, which some individuals find challenging to digest or tolerate, flax seeds deliver ALA in a gentler plant-derived form. Once consumed, ALA can be partially converted by the body into EPA and DHA, the same potent omega-3s often highlighted in discussions about fish oil. While the conversion rate is not complete, scientific research confirms that ALA itself effectively lowers inflammation, promotes robust vascular health, and has been shown to enhance memory performance in older adults. Yet flaxseed offers more than just omega-3s. It is also abundant in lignans plant compounds that possess powerful antioxidant properties. These lignans function like natural internal firefighters, actively suppressing oxidative stress in the brain and eyes. The result: reduced cellular damage to your retinal structures and a lower risk of the rusting processes that accelerate age-related decline. Now let's discuss practical application. Flax seeds are remarkably resilient. If you consume them whole, most will pass through your system without being fully digested. To properly access their nutritional power, they must be ground. A standard coffee grinder will accomplish this simply. I recommend aiming for 1 to 2 tablespoons in the evening. You can easily sprinkle them over yogurt, blend them into a smoothie, or stir them into warm oatmeal. Why specifically consume them before bed? Because these nutrients are optimally absorbed and circulated just as your body initiates its profound nightly repair cycle. You are essentially providing the essential supplies to your body's repair crew right before they clock in. Over a period of time, many older patients report noticing clearer morning focus, a reduction in eye dryness, and sharper memory recall. Could this simple addition be the shift your morning routine needs? It is quite remarkable how one small seed can establish the necessary foundation for both brain and vision repair. However, flax does not work in isolation. Let's now examine its essential vascular partner, pistachios. Pistachios, the circulation and nerve guardians. If pumpkin initiates the neural spark and flax builds the essential cell membranes, pistachios step in as the circulation and nerve guardians. They are not just a snack, they are biochemical repair kits packed into green and gold shells, focusing on keeping the highways of blood and communication open, clean, and vibrant. Pistachios are uniquely rich in lutein and zeaxanthin, 2 powerful carotenoids that accumulate directly in the retina. These pigments act as natural sunglasses for your eyes, filtering harmful blue light and reducing oxidative stress on delicate photoreceptor cells. Clinical studies have shown that consistent pistachio intake increases plasma levels of these pigments, directly improving visual performance and contrast sensitivity, especially important as we age. Beyond vision, pistachios play a crucial role in vascular health. Their arginine content supports nitric oxide production, which relaxes blood vessels, enhances oxygen delivery, and improves circulation to microcapillaries in the retina and brain. This means sharper vision, better focus, and reduced risk of ischemic eye conditions caused by restricted blood flow. Their vitamin B6 content supports nerve myelination, the insulation that allows fast, precise communication between brain and eye. For older adults, maintaining this connection is vital for memory reaction time and overall cognitive clarity. Paired with the gamma-tocopherols, a form of vitamin E unique to pistachios, they protect neuronal membranes from oxidative injury, slowing down age-related cognitive decline. Pistachios also shine as metabolic stabilizers. The combination of fiber-healthy fats and plant protein slows glucose absorption, improving insulin sensitivity and reducing the harmful effects of glycation, one of the leading silent destroyers of eye capillaries and nerves in diabetic patients. In essence, they act as a shield against diabetic retinopathy and neuropathy. At the cellular level, pistachios deliver polyphenols and anthocyanins that fight chronic inflammation. These compounds neutralize free radicals in both the vascular and neural tissues, promoting smoother blood flow and oxygen exchange. Their potassium and magnesium support muscle relaxation and electrolyte balance, helping prevent eye strain, twitching, and tension headaches. In addition, pistachios have been found to lower LDL cholesterol and raise HDL levels, supporting long-term heart and ocular health by ensuring the blood feeding your retina and optic nerve remains clean and unclogged. They even aid in gut microbiome health, as their prebiotic fibers foster beneficial bacteria that reduce systemic inflammation, again benefiting the eyes, brain, and circulation simultaneously. Finally, their mild yet powerful antioxidant synergy, combining carotenoids, polyphenols, and vitamin E, builds a defense wall around your cells, much like a quiet but vigilant army that works while you sleep. This sustained protection preserves the microarchitecture of the eye and the delicate nerves that control both focus and emotional stability. To summarize their benefits, pistachios enhance retinal protection, boost microcirculation, balance, blood sugar, protect nerve function, support nitric oxide flow, improve lipid balance, calm inflammation, strengthen the microbiome, guard against oxidative stress, maintain electrolyte balance, and sustain focus and memory. A perfect symphony of vascular and neural defense. It's no exaggeration to say that pistachios represent the bridge between vascular care and neural clarity. Where pumpkin and flax lay the foundation, pistachios refine and polish the system, keeping the highways of blood and communication open, clean, and vibrant. To gain the full health benefits of pistachios, balance and consistency are key. A daily serving of about 1 to 1.5 ounces, roughly a small handful, or 30 to 40 kernels is ideal. Choose unsalted raw or dry roasted pistachios to preserve their natural nutrients and avoid excess sodium or artificial flavorings that can diminish their cardiovascular benefits. The best time to enjoy them is mid-morning or mid-afternoon, when your energy and focus naturally dip. At these moments, pistachios provide a steady release of healthy fats and protein to sustain both mental clarity and visual performance. For optimal nutrient synergy, pair them with a source of vitamin C, such as berries or citrus fruits, to enhance carotenoid absorption and antioxidant effectiveness. Store pistachios in an airtight container, away from light and heat, to protect their delicate oils and preserve freshness. Those with nut allergies or a history of kidney stones should consume them in moderation due to their natural oxalate content. Used mindfully and consistently, not in excess pistachios. Transform from a simple snack into a therapeutic daily ally, nourishing both the body and the intricate network that links clarity of sight with clarity of mind. Sunflower seeds vitamin E for memory and sharpness. If pumpkin energizes flax builds and pistachios maintain circulation, then sunflower seeds are the essential shield. Their secret weapon is vitamin E, one of the most potent fat-soluble antioxidants available in nature. Why is this so important for your brain and eyes? Consider oxidation as a process similar to rust forming on a vehicle. Every day your cells are subject to a bombardment by free radicals, which are unstable molecules generated by normal metabolism pollution, UV light exposure, and even psychological stress. Over time, this rusting process compromises the delicate membranes that are meant to protect neurons and retinal cells. Once these membranes are damaged, signal transmission slows down, memory can become fragmented, and vision loses clarity. Research consistently supports this finding. Older adults with demonstrably higher vitamin E levels tend to exhibit superior memory function, faster processing speed, and greater overall mental sharpness compared to those who are deficient. In fact, certain studies suggest that vitamin E may contribute to slowing cognitive decline in specific conditions such as Alzheimer's. Here is a striking point: just 1/4 cup of sunflower seeds provides approximately 75% of your daily vitamin E requirements. That represents a significant antioxidant delivery in a very modest serving. But the benefits do not stop there. Sunflower seeds also contain selenium, another critical antioxidant mineral, plus B vitamins that actively fuel the brain's energy pathways. Combined, these nutrients help to diminish mental fatigue and promote more consistent cognitive clarity. The best part is how effortless they are to enjoy. A small handful of unsalted sunflower seeds is a perfectly satisfying and effective bedtime snack. You can also sprinkle them over a salad, blend them into a smoothie, or stir them directly into oatmeal. Their mild, nutty flavor makes them a truly versatile addition to your nightly seed ritual. Crucially, unlike many isolated supplements, the nutrients in sunflower seeds are naturally packaged with other plant compounds that operate synergistically. This means they protect and nourish your body much more effectively when working together than they would in isolation. Therefore, when you combine sunflower seeds with pumpkin flax and pistachios, you are not simply snacking. You are intentionally assembling a comprehensive toolkit for overnight cellular repair. Each seed contributes a distinct and vital function: the spark plug, the builder, the circulator, and the shield. Together, they cover the full spectrum of what your brain and eyes require to maintain acuity, focus, and clarity. Are you ready to commit to this powerful 4-part strategy? We have now introduced the spark plugs, the builders, the circulators, and the shields. Now, let's discuss the practical method for using them in a way that is simple, enjoyable, and most importantly, sustainable. I recommend adopting what I call the Bedtime Seed Ritual. Here is how to implement it. Approximately 30 to 60 minutes before you go to sleep, consume a small portion of one or more of these seeds. A total of 1 to 2 tablespoons is quite sufficient. This amount delivers the necessary nutrients to your brain and eyes without causing any undue heaviness in your stomach. The exact method of preparation is entirely your choice. Some individuals prefer the simplicity of a small handful of pumpkin or sunflower seeds as a light snack. Others enjoy blending ground flax seeds into a warm evening smoothie. The central principle here is consistency, not complexity. You must choose the method you will genuinely look forward to each night. By consuming the seeds at night, you ensure your body absorbs the nutrients just in time for the critical repair work that takes place during sleep. It is like ensuring the toolbox is fully stocked before the repair crew arrives. The omega-3s magnesium, zinc, and vitamin E are already circulating, poised to fuel cell repair, enhance circulation, and actively guard against oxidative stress. If you commit to this ritual for 2 to 3 weeks, you are highly likely to observe small but clinically meaningful changes. Clearer morning vision. A decrease in eye dryness. A subtle but distinct improvement in memory recall. And quite possibly a calmer, more restorative night's rest. What is your preferred method for integrating these seeds into your evening routine? The true elegance of this ritual lies in its simplicity. No complex recipes are required, and no expensive specialized supplements are necessary. It is simply nature's most concentrated nutrition taken during a mindful moment before bed. To quickly summarize, pumpkin seeds deliver zinc and magnesium essential for night vision and memory function. Flax seeds provide essential omega-3s for flexible brain and retinal membranes. Pistachios enhance circulation and nerve function, acting as the vascular guardian. Sunflower seeds offer vitamin E to protect against damaging oxidative stress. These small nightly habits may seem minor, but over a few short weeks they possess the power to establish the foundation for clearer mornings, sharper thinking, and steadier vision. Remember, you are never too old to take proactive steps to reclaim cognitive and visual clarity. I encourage you to try this bedtime seed ritual.